I'm also a fellow PSAC graduate. I graduated across the state on the eastern side at Westchester University. Pennsylvania is near and dear to my heart, my friend. I've been here now, believe it or not, 27 years. I was coached for many, many years by a true, what I call, icon in our industry. I think he is the godfather of literally coaching and mentoring and training in the real estate industry. Every single day they wake up at zero. What we do as a family is really get together, collaborate, share best practices, push one another, try to become more effective and efficient.
Well, welcome to the Winner's Code. I am Mike Slacktish, proud owner of Century 21 Signature Properties. We're located in northeastern PA, a little town called Dallas, Pennsylvania. Been in real estate for about 20 years, coached by some of the top minds in the industry, and had the privilege of being coaching others as well. My journey actually started from a small town called Clarion University, and bought the real estate company without even a real estate license. And since then, we've been having a, let's say, a fun ride. It's been a journey, and that's really the purpose of the show. I want to sit down with some of the top minds, the most successful individuals in business, real estate, and leadership, really to uncover how they won. My goal is to pull out some valuable lessons from their journey so that you, whether you're an agent, entrepreneur, or simply someone striving for success, can apply these insights to your own life. And I've been so excited for the last 2 weeks getting notification that Mike Miedler, the CEO of Century 21 International, is going to be on the show. And looking at Mike's bio, he's dedicated his career to helping agents and brokers thrive. He's obviously leading one of the most recognized brands in real estate, and Century 21 obviously backs us as well. And it's just fantastic. In this conversation, we're going to dive into his path of becoming CEO, his perspective of the current and future real estate market, and what sets Century 21 apart in today's competitive landscape, and potentially some major disruptors that may be shaping our future in industry. So without further ado, Mike Miedler, welcome to the show. So excited to have you.
Michael, it's great to be on. I appreciate the invite. I think you made some really cool and interesting points there. I think you know this about me. Maybe you don't. I'm also a fellow PSAC graduate. I graduated across the state on the eastern side at Westchester University. I don't know if I told you this, but my father grew up in the coal town of Shaytown, which is just, I think, directly south of you guys, right? Right
Yes.
outside of Nanticoke. So same general vicinity and area, and Pennsylvania is near and dear to my heart, my friend.
Well, that's exciting. And that's something that, I wanted to just quickly talk to you about, because your journey is amazing. So when you look at your journey, did you go to an Ivy League? Did you automatically start off with a VP role, and then all of a sudden you became the CEO? So talk to everybody about that journey, because I don't think most people know where you started and really what it took to get where you're at today.
Yeah, no, thanks for letting me do that. I mean, I am the son of a blue collar family. First kid, literally in my immediate family or first person in my immediate family to go to college. Didn't go to an Ivy League school. I went to a state school called Westchester University, right outside of Philadelphia. So I got a lot of old, happy Philadelphia Eagle fan friends right now. Honestly, Michael, when you ask that question, I don't think folks recognize that, like, there's really not a whole lot of shortcuts in life. I don't care what industry it's in. I mean, there probably are people who, I think the saying is, they get born on third base, where, they're born into a, just a little bit of a slight advantage versus everybody else, however that might be from their family, or, the wealth that maybe their families have, or connections. I was not born on third base, and I don't think, in this industry or any other, there's really any shortcut for good old fashioned hard work. I mean, I think that's what it takes to be successful. I know a lot of our discussion today will be around how do you win, not just in real estate, but in life, in your business, in your personal life in general. I got a lot of thoughts around that, because I've been having a great privilege in this role, to see a lot of winners in this business, in this industry. I've got to meet a lot of folks, as you can imagine, not just here in the US, but around the globe, who operate at a very, very high level, very, very successful level. like you. I think it's a matter of exposing yourself to those coaches, those mentors, those people who you see winning and going out and trying to take a little bit of their recipe and putting it into your own life, your own business, your own personal habits. And so, I got started in the mailroom. I joke around literally at the very, entry level job that they have inside of the Century 21 brand. And I've been here now, believe it or not, 27 years. And as I said, I got to learn a lot from a lot of different people that have shaped my career and, where I'm at today.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. You said that the starting point, you start off on third base, and that's the truth with success in business. Sometimes you do get a head start, and it's not where you start; it's where you're going. It's how you're going to finish it, and it's really the in between, understanding those bumps along the road and how you react to that. And what's interesting, I heard you talk about. You just said the word mentor, and could you talk about that? Because in my understanding is that you were actually coached by a coach that I used to be a coach with, and that's Mike Ferry. So wanted to hear a little bit about that experience and how that can be applied to someone who's new in the business, to someone who's, a seasoned veteran.
Yeah, it's a great point. I think, look, I mean, the greatest players, athletes, the folks that, we all look at on television and say, oh my God, look at the success that these athletes or these people or these business folks are having. I mean, they're all coached and mentored in some form or fashion, whether that's when, Mike, to your point, whether you're young and new to the business, or whether you're a seasoned veteran who is just looking for a little bit more of an edge or looking to, really kind of find that success factor, what it is that you're trying to accomplish in a specific year. I mean, I think, look, coaches and mentors in life are important at all different levels, whether, it's your true teacher at your, school that you go to when you're a youngster, or whether you kind of align yourself and follow people when you're in the business world who are truly having the success that you want to go have. I was, like you said, I was coached for many, many years by a true, what I call icon in our industry. I think he is the godfather of literally coaching and mentoring and training in the real estate industry. Mike Ferry, who's celebrating 50 years this year, believe it or not. And he spawned so many others throughout, real estate, in pushing real estate professionals who are, again, like, right, real estate professionals, this is what's so unique. Every single day they wake up at zero. They wake up at a place where, they have to go to work, do the hard work, put in the activities in order to, make a paycheck, put food on the table, gain customers, et cetera, et cetera. And I think, a couple of things that Mike taught me are what really shaped my career and my thought process as I was trying to develop as a more immature leader and a more immature sales professional. And, Mike's taught me so much through such a long period of time. In fact, I just went to his productivity retreat, which he had back in Palm Springs here, California, in January, his 50th anniversary of it. And, I wrote a little LinkedIn kind of blog about some of my key takeaways. And I think, Michael, that, some of those takeaways that I probably expressed in that blog are things that you were teaching and coaching other professionals on, way back when you were coaching for Mike, and even are doing today, because they're the core of what it takes to be successful in our business. So, Mike's meant a lot to me in my life, as so many others. I think about a former CEO at Century 21, Rick Davidson, who, taught me in other areas of the business on, just how to succeed, how to win, how to, really kind of give it your all. And so, like, I think all of us at some point in time are just moved and I think shaped by, the people that we align ourselves with and bring into our lives. And I think that's an important point, right? You probably hear this, that, you become some form of like the 3 or 4 people that you hang out with the most. And I think there's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah, I could not agree with you more. So, Mike, we have a lot of people that watch the show that are, fairly new to the industry. So being around new agents, what are some of the few items that you could really hang their hat on? They could hang their hat on as a big takeaway to become successful. It doesn't necessarily have to be sales and real estate. It could be sales. It could be anything to really go to that next level, because it's the journey. It's doesn't happen overnight.
I love that. It is the journey. I mean, Mike, I'll kind of like, let me reiterate kind of the five that I talked about in this blog, because I think they're really important. I think they're great for real estate professionals, especially folks who are in their first 3, 4, 5 years in the business. Number one, and this is a cool one because it's true, and it goes to what you and I just talked about. When you follow and hang around people who are strong and effective, you become stronger and more effective. And I think that's what I love about the Century 21 system, is that, we have this fraternity, sorority of individuals who, operate around the globe. But, what we do as a family is really get together, collaborate, share best practices, push one another, try to become more effective and efficient. What's working, in Dallas, Pennsylvania, and that you and your company are working on might be something a little bit different, or, something that folks in Dallas, Texas want to try. And so, I love the fact that we're able to do that inside of our network and push one another to do more. And I think, again, it's that hanging around with strong and effective people.
Mike,
And strong.
Can I build off of that for one
Yeah,
second?
please,
Because I think
please,
it's really
please.
important.
Yeah.
Really, it's important discussion about that. When you're going through the channels and working your way up, what are some examples? Because I got to believe you're in the sales business, which is where you hung your hat on. And then obviously you want to talk to people above you, and you almost want to be the fifth person in that group of five or group of three. So you can learn more, and then you're basically playing a little catch up to them. So I didn't know if there's any, specific examples to share.
I no, I love that thought. I mean, if you think about it this way, just literally at the ground level in your market, in your office, in the company that you're in, right? When you see and watch, and again, this doesn't have to be a formal thing where you're trying to pull a lot of time and energy and, taking the top agents to lunch. This could be you're showing up at the office at the same time they are at 7:30 in the morning to start your prospecting day, or that, you're there on the weekends watching, how they are, at a client appreciation, party that they're hosting, and, watching what they're doing and how they're doing it. Or that, you happen to, kind of oversee or see them in the way that they're dealing with their clients on, a specific transaction. I mean, like, think about just following folks who are really strong and effective in your office and watching their habits and trying to adopt those same habits. Now, again, like for all of us, we all learn a little bit different. We all have a little bit different strengths. And you'll be able to adapt and adopt those strengths that you're watching from top agents into the way that you go about your business. But it really is, I mean, if you want to strive to be one of the best, you got to watch and see and hang around some of the best. And so, me, that's a great way to just do it in your little office. And I will say this, guys, is that, what I find unique about this industry, Michael, and I know you feel the same way, is that, this is an industry of givers. Like that's what we do. We're serving customers every single day. And I think some of the top agents, some of the folks who you are seeing a high level of success are going to share what they can do and how they do it, and, what little secrets or tips or tricks that they have with you if you just are a little inquisitive about it and ask.
Absolutely. I think Mike even talks about that. Your level of production or level of success is based upon the service that you give to another person. And the more you give back, the more you receive. And yeah, without doubt. So thank you for sharing that. Now you were at point one. What was point two that we were going through those 5 points?
So yeah, I mean, look, I can go on and on and on. I think point five was one of the ones that you just mentioned, right? I mean, I think, we have levels of success by making sure we really provide excellent service to our customer. And one of the things that, Mike was saying is that for 2025, the key for all of our sales professionals in this industry is going to be asking better questions, asking deeper questions. As sales professionals, I think a lot of times we want to talk a lot about all the great things that we can do and what we provide and how we're going to do it for you. But it's really about understanding the unique need and the unique service that you have to provide that specific client at that specific moment. And Mike said, Michael, and you, I know, believe this as well, is that when you ask really, really good questions, you'll be able to provide better service. Your customer service will be stronger. It will be more unique. It will be more tailored. It will help those customers to a way that you haven't helped other customers in the past because you've asked really good questions about what their needs are.
Without doubt, yeah. Basically, it sounds like you're saying, don't just be thinking about the next question. Really understand their comment so you can dig a little deeper, find out specifically how you can be of service to them.
That's right.
So
That's right.
You've gone through this ladder of success. Was there any challenges along the way that you love to share of how you overcame and what you did to do that?
Ton of challenges, like all of us, right? I mean, I think, so I'm going to say this one last time and I'll leave this topic, but one of the other points that Mike made is that we all screw up so much. Like, one of my mentors from Anywhere Real Estate, who's a very high level executive, would use the examples of, like, you see how successful Amazon is and all the business lines that they're in, and you say to yourself, "Oh my God, look at this, billion, trillion-dollar company." What you don't realize is all the failures that Amazon's had, the different, lines of business that they've gone into that were complete failures and the customer didn't want. One of the points that Mike was making was that, every single year we're all failing. The very highest performers are failing so frequently and so often. And I think, you could just scroll around and see, little, kind of things on TikTok or Instagram on the Michael Jordans, the Tiger Woods, the, Rafael Nadal's, how many times they lost or how many times they screwed up in their sport. But how many championships they won. And, Mike was saying to us, look, think back to last year. Think about all the mistakes that you made, right? Who remembers them? Honestly, nobody remembers them. You're the only person who remembers them. So use each one of those mistakes as a learning lesson. I mean, I think, Michael, for me, one of the things that, and I think all professionals go through these phases is when you get into something new, when you push yourself outside of your comfort zone, when you're trying to accomplish a really big goal, at some points you almost don't even know what you don't know, right? I mean, you're going after it and you want to do it and you got to make it happen, and you're in the deep end of the pool and you're trying to swim for your life and figure it out, and you don't even know some of the things you don't know. But the goal there, and I think the important part, Michael, is that you've pushed yourself outside of your comfort zone. You've taken the big leap. You've gone to a spot where you knew it wouldn't be easy. You knew it wasn't going to be a walk in the park. But I think, that's how we as professionals, I think, continue to evolve ourselves. And, I know your story. You mentioned it at the top of this, phone conversation. Like, you jumped into owning a real estate company and supporting other agents to achieve their dreams without even having, a real estate license. And so, like, I'm sure there was a lot that you had to figure out in that example. And I think all of us, as we grow and improve, you're just taking chances, and it's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy, but I think you would agree, you got to take that chance, right?
Oh, the journey has been the best part of the ride. It really, we each, I'm sure each part, when you got to be VP and then you got to be senior VP, the journey is always the excitement part of it all. And Mike, and looking at that, I thought I heard you mention something, a book by Simon Sinek, Infinite Gain.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious about that thought, because I have never heard that before, and I just thought it was a great thought. Could you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it's Simon Sinek, for those of you guys who aren't listeners, and you're watching this podcast or listening to this podcast. Again, he's another person that you can follow on Instagram or TikTok and get some really short clips, certainly YouTube, of just some of his business philosophies. And I think they're super, super strong. By the way, one of the quotes that I was using for a long time, Michael, was Manti Te'o, who, again, I use a lot of athlete kind of analogies. He was at our top agent retreat way back when, and he said exactly what you said. It's not necessarily the destination, it's about the journey. And I think it kind of like bodes well for all of the things that will happen along the way. You have to enjoy that journey. You can't just be, looking for the end goal. You've got to enjoy that journey that you're on, and that truly is the magic. So the Simon Sinek thing is all about that. We are real estate specifically, and probably business in general, is an infinite game, right? I mean, we're not necessarily playing in this business for, this year I want to, do X amount of transactions and make X amount of money. In our business, it has to be about the long game and continuing to be in that game over time, because there is no real start, there is no real end, there is no real winner in real estate. And it doesn't matter who's got, the most agents, or who did the most deals, or who sold the highest property. The business of real estate is continuing to evolve yourself in that journey, continuing to improve yourself in that journey, continuing to learn in that journey, so that you can continue to be in the game. And to me, the way that you do that in real estate, and you made this point earlier, Michael, is really about serving the customer. Because what I find, and I was just this weekend literally in Alabama and Georgia with one of our great companies down there at an Easter Seals fundraiser, and I was sitting down on the ride back to the hotel with one of our great agents, and he said this to me, and I said, it is truly what I think is the one defining factor that for real estate agents who have been in this a very long time and operated at a really high level, it all comes down to taking care of your customer. And the more and more that you act as that trusted advisor, the more and more you treat them like family, to your point earlier, asking really, really good questions, not caring about asking the next question, but truly understanding their needs and making sure that they are taken care of. Guess what happens? The money follows when you do that and you have that mindset. And then after that, you're going to continue to get repeat and referral business from those people because you took care of them at such a high level. And we're in an industry where this is oftentimes the largest financial transaction that people will make in their lifetime, their largest investment. It's their gateway to wealth building in this country and for their family. And when you can really do that at a high level from a service perspective, you're going to find out that people are going to say, man, you got to go see my friend Michael. Yep. He took care of me like no other and made sure that I was, getting exactly what I needed and wanting out of my real estate purchase. You got to go see him as well. And I find, like, when I see the folks who we know, who who are in your firm that really operate at a high level for many, many years, that's the single common denominators. They are always taking care of that customer, worrying about that customer service first, and everything else falls in place.
Yeah, I mean, I may have said it previously. As we've said, we teach here, sales is helping someone make a good decision for them through a series of questions. Bottom line, and like you said, that'll just follow you. It's amazing. Out of the blue, you'll get that phone call. Hey, I don't know if you remember me. You will get those phone calls through a period of time. So really quick, Mike, because obviously with Century 21, here's what's amazing. You have 140, 150,000 offices throughout the world, right?
We have about 12,000 offices, 140,000 agents across the globe.
Okay. So here you are talking to me, and I mean, you have everything going on, and that's what I want to talk about the brand a little bit right now, because that's very special. If I worked for Procter & Gamble, I guarantee you I can't get the CEO on the phone to handle all of that. I just find amazing. Could you share a little bit? Now, what do you think about Century 21? What separates Century 21? How did it become the name brand that it is today? And and how do you continue that process?
Yeah, great questions. And I think you're going to find that the last answer comes back to what you and I were just talking about here. So, look, Century 21 is a 53-year-old firm, right? I mean, I say this all the time, Michael. We were the original disruptor in real estate. I mean, when Art Bartlett and Marsh Fisher got together in Southern California and had this idea oh my God, like if we wove together a bunch of real estate professionals across this great country and eventually around the globe that all believed in the same vision and had the same branding, the strength of this collective would be so much bigger and better, even in their local market, than we could be singularly on our own. And, their thought process was, not only will we be strong from a brand name perspective, but we'll be able to bring our people better training, better coaching, better systems, better platforms. Well, what that evolved to really for us in, this 5+ decades is this interesting and unique factor that we've become a household name. In fact, for now 26 years in a row, I was telling you earlier, I've been with the brand 27 years. It has nothing to do with me, but for 26 years in a row, we have been not just the most recognized name, but the most respected name in real estate. And I think that's come out of the fact that we are unique in a couple different ways. One, I truly believe we are the only global real estate brand that's out there that can service a customer in over 80 countries, right? But the second part of that is that we've always had this vision of, again, making sure that we put the customer first so that we can in turn service them at a very high level in a very, very meaningful transaction. And what that mindset's transpired to is, again, just a ton of repeat and referral business and people looking at us as that trusted brand. And that's why when agents who are with Century 21 sit down at the kitchen table to do a listing presentation or work with a buyer, it brings instant credibility based on our, like I said, 50-year plus track record. One of the other things that I think is ultimately important, and if you're a Century 21 agent or you're an agent out there, is that buyers are changing rapidly in our market. We can get into those statistics and why. Consumers are changing rapidly. And I think what's ultimately important is that you are recognized and understood as a market knowledge expert, because we all know that real estate is local, down to the street, down to the zip code, down to that very local market. One of the things that we did literally decades ago is we went out and we put together what we call our quality service surveys, okay? And these quality service surveys, are really just a follow-up after a transaction is completed for us to measure how well we did with that customer. And so, we've gone through this series of processes where we've kind of refined those questions and really drilled home. But what we find is that our agents and our companies and our offices who use our quality service award and are really intentional about measuring the customer feedback and scoring very highly always wind up doing more business than everybody else. And so what I think it's important is that as soon as, I find out that, this property's for sale and I'm looking up Michael's name, what am I doing? What are we all doing? Whether it's, a restaurant that we're going to, whether it's a movie we want to go see, or a real estate agent that we're looking at potentially using, we go and we Google, right? We go and look online. What does AI say about them? What does Google say about them? What do other customers say about them? And so I think it's really important that as real estate professionals, we're making sure that we are getting customer reviews, customer feedback, and making sure the world can see that, whether it's on your social media accounts, whether it's, through our Real Satisfied program, which we think very, very highly of, and putting out for the world to see what you do and what your customers say about you after they're done with you in that transaction. So I think it goes back to that vision of really delivering that extraordinary service and experience to the customer.
That's incredible, and could not agree with you more. As much as ultimately it does come back down to that customer service level. And hey, Mike, talk to me a little bit about the current state of the real estate market. You just said there, customers are changing. What kind of outlooks you're seeing?
Yeah.
Trends?
So I mean, no, great questions. I mean, I think we talk, and when on Fox Business, or when I talk to large groups of agents, I think the key themes right now that we're all seeing, and this is true in central Pennsylvania and it's true in California. Two big things, right? You're talking about affordability and you're talking about inventory, and both of those are driven right now by mortgage rates and where they sit. And so I think we are probably the most sensitive market to the interest rate and to the mortgage rate. And so, we've seen now, I think, a wild ride since COVID to where we're at today, and just, all different changes in the way that market affordability and inventory has gone. If you look at it for the last 3 years, Michael, we've now seen increased mortgage rates and increases in inventory. And so that's, I think, bringing us back to, because a lot of people have a really short memory, where we were at COVID was not normal in 2020 and 2021, even 2022. I think what those two increases are doing is bringing the real estate world back to a more normalized market. Now, I think inventory is at crisis levels, unfortunately, across this country. And that's why you see such high payment rates, such high, home prices. We're sitting right now at a spot where we've seen 19 months of year-over-year price increases. If you look at that like over the last decade, it's probably 160 out of 170 months in a row of year-over-year price increases. That is specifically, related to the amount of inventory that's out there and the amount of household formations there are. But what I think you're seeing now is increased inventory, increase in obviously the mortgage rate. And what that's driven is, I think we're moving back to a more normalized market. We still don't have the amount of inventory we need for the large generations in U.S. history that are coming into their main home buying years. And, hopefully we'll catch up on that, over the next, call it half a decade plus, by, building new spaces. And I see that here in New Jersey. I'm sure you see it in Pennsylvania, and we all see it across the country. But we got to continue to deliver more affordable housing here for some of these younger generations, because you are seeing first-time home buyers at some of the lowest levels that we've seen. They're older than we've ever seen. At I think the age is 38 is about the average age of a first-time home buyer.
Wow.
It's usually a much lower than that. And so, we're just seeing all these different dynamics, but I think it's kind of causing us to get back to what I would call a more normalized market. And I'm hoping that we're going to see that really prove itself in the spring here. But, again, your guess is as good as mine on where we're headed from a mortgage rate perspective. And, that I think is going to be the main driver. Here's the good news. At the end of last year, we saw the mortgage rate get cut in September. That opened us up to a very, I would call it, good end of the year. We had a great fourth quarter. In fact, in November, we saw the largest year-over-year unit gain from a sales perspective than we have since 2021. And we're hoping, a little that normalization of the mortgage rates where they're sitting in that high sixes range will, let the consumer recognize that they're not going back to 3 anytime soon. And that, people, if you're interested in real estate, are going to have to make a move one way or the other. And again, with the increased inventory that we've seen, hopefully we'll see more of a normal spring selling season.
Yeah, no question about it. We're seeing it here. We're seeing increased inventory, and like you said in the very beginning, it's very localized. And it was an interesting fact in talking to another industry expert. They said throughout any period of time, if you owned the property 10 years, you would have seen an increase. So it doesn't really matter if you buy today, tomorrow, or a year. If you have that hold for that period of time, you will not lose money. And
Michael, I think that's the key, right? I mean, real estate is always going to appreciate in this country. It just is. I mean, and it's a proven fact to your point. If you're in this for the short term, if you're a flipper or you're, unfortunately, you're in a situation where you're going to be selling in a year or two, I don't know, maybe you should be a renter or maybe you're going to roll the dice. But if you're a long-term holder of real estate, you are going to continue to build wealth for yourself. In fact, I've got some cool, interesting statistics about just how wealth is built through real estate. Do you guys know that the average homeowner is about 40 times wealthier than the average renter? I mean, it's a fact. And so, again, buying real estate, holding it for a long time will continue to prove as a worthwhile investment in this country.
That's incredible. I know we're running short on time here. Just 2 more quick questions, Mike. One is, and I'll just combine it together, is what are your thoughts of AI and how that's going to affect? And what we talked about a little bit before, are there any more disruptors that you're seeing coming down the path?
Yeah, so great questions. I think, look, I mean, there's a lot that's happened to us as a real estate industry, literally in the last year, right? I mean, what we've navigated and overcome as real estate professionals, truly incredible. I will say this is that our marketplace, our industry rapidly changes, and I think the world is rapidly changing. The economy, the government, everything is just moving at a speed that is so fast paced. Here's what I'll say to you, Michael. I can give you, dozens of examples of, commissions and how our cheese has been moved in the real estate industry time and time again. But here's what I'll say is that no matter what happens in life, there is going to continue to be change. I love AI. I use it, a ton to do a lot of different things. I think it will continue to make us more effective and efficient. It will bring answers faster. It will make us a quicker society. I do not think that AI is going to change the core of what a real estate agent provides from a value perspective. I do think it'll make you better. I think it'll make you quicker. I think it'll make you become more efficient. I joke around, like if I rewound 6 years ago, we were talking about blockchain, we were talking about iBuyers, we were talking about disruptors that came into the industry and actually aren't even around anymore, Michael. And so I think what you're always going to find is you're going to find new, shiny, fast-paced objects. Some of them are worthwhile in adopting and looking at and taking hold of to make you a better professional. But it will not change the core of what we do as real estate professionals and how we provide value for so many different reasons because of the personal and financial aspect of what real estate means to families and buyers in this country. And so I think, again, as much as change has stayed the same. And so, keep doing those core things that I know that you're teaching and coaching your agents to do. I think you summed it up perfectly in that, say what you said, that your value there is like asking a lot of questions so that you can ultimately get to a great end state for your customers. Is that how you said it?
Yeah, basically selling is a series of questions that help them come to the conclusion that you're helping them.
This
Sales
is a
is,
good
is
deal for them,
just,
right?
that's all it is.
And that, honestly, that is never going to change in the real estate game. Not while you and I are around anyway. So, I remember 5 years ago, you were just going to, punch something up on your phone and bam, it was going to sell the house and everything was going to be great, right? iBuyers. That's all we talked about for years.
Yeah.
Where are they today?
If you're not helping someone make a good decision for them, then you're going to be short-lived in this business. You will not survive in it. And, Mike, I heard you say, the 121% rule, which I love, by the way. Mindset, always be learning and putting in the hard work. And you combine those three together, you can't help but achieve high levels of success.
And Michael, honestly, it's not just in real estate, it's almost in anything you do. If you follow those three, you'll have high levels of success, is my opinion.
No, Mike, thank you so much for taking the time. This has been such a wonderful conversation, and I look forward to seeing you at the next event. I haven't seen you for a while, so looking forward to shaking hands. And
Absolutely,
it's been
Michael.
amazing. By the way, I didn't know that you do half triathlons. I didn't know you're
Yeah,
that
yeah.
level of
So,
competition. Holy crap!
I've done it probably with a bunch of your buddies, man. And so anytime you're interested in leveling up your game and pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone, let me know. But we, Greg and Adam and a bunch of the Mike Ferry guys, like we get together and try to do one every year at least. So anyway.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And we're wishing you the best of luck. We could, as a Century 21 franchise, we could have asked for a better leader than who we have right now. You are just amazing. And the fact that the first time we met, you said, here's my cell phone number, call me with any questions, concerns, just says a lot about who you are. And there's a reason why you're where you are because of that. So thank you, Mike.
Means a lot, man. Have a great rest of the day.